Welcome to the Brass and Woodwind Shop. There are 4 ways to tighten adjustment screws on woodwind instruments. The first 2 ways of tightening adjusting screws I will just explain. 1, you can replace the screw. Sometimes this works and sometimes it does not. And 2, you can put a product called Loctite on the screw and sometimes that will work too. For the third way of doing it, you will need a round nose pliers. What you do is you squeeze the part that the screw goes into. I'm not sure what that's even called or even if it has a name. It has to be round nose pliers with the smooth jaws. You do not want to use rough jaws or that will ruin this. And doing this, it does make a mark in it, and you need to realize that before you do it. It's going to be a small mark, but it will make a mark. If the screw is recessed into the hole, you do not want to squeeze it right at the top because that will just push that together and the screw will get stuck in there. You want to do it below where the screw is, like right here, and then you can do it safely. So what you do is you take the pliers and then you carefully squeeze it like that. And like I say, it does make a very tiny mark in that, but you can usually barely see it. And usually that's enough to tighten up the loose screw so that it does not come out too easily. You want the screw to move in and out freely, but you do not want it so loose that it's going to work its way in and out while the instrument's being played. For the fourth way of tightening loose adjustment screws, you take a screwdriver and you put it in the head of the screw and you spread the head of the screw apart, and that widens the screw a little bit so that it is tighter in the hole. Let me show you how to do that. First of all, you have to back the screw out of the hole a little bit, and then you check the head of the screw and you see how far the slot goes down into the screw. And these are very small, it's hard to see, so I'm going to draw it for you. Usually I use my smallest woodwind screwdriver. You take the screwdriver and put it into the slot of the screw, and then you take the screwdriver and you move it back and forth, and that spreads the head of the screw apart a little bit, and usually that's enough so that it is tight inside of the screw hole. Often you will need to take that slot and make that slot a little bigger. What you would do is take a jeweler's saw with a fine blade. You would cut the slot a little bit deeper so that it would look more like this. And then that gives you more room to spread the head apart. You need to be careful though, because if you go too far, then the head of the adjustment screw can split open and you need to replace the adjustment screw. But usually you can do this without causing any damage. Then you take the screwdriver, spread the head of the adjustment screw apart a little bit, and it will fit in there and it will be tight and there will be no problems for many years to come. Back the screw out of the hole so that you can see the head coming out of the screw hole. Then you take the jeweler's saw and you cut down the slot in the head of the screw, and you need to be careful not to cut anything on the instrument. And you do not want to go too far. I probably need to go a little bit farther so that it will spread open. And I'm guiding it with my fingernail so that nothing bad happens. Okay, I think that's good. And then screw the screw in so that you can only see about half of the slot. If the slot is sticking out too far and you pry it open, then it can go too far open and cause a problem, or it can break. But if the slot is only about halfway out, then the screw hole will keep it from spreading apart too far. And I put it in there halfway and I'm pushing on it kind of hard, and I'm going to spread it apart a little bit like that. And I'm being very careful not to let the screwdriver slip, because if it slips it can damage the instrument. And it's also a good idea to keep your hand out of the way so that if it does slip you don't hit your hand and poke a hole in your hand. So now I'm going to pry this open a little bit, and that should be good. And then I'm going to screw that in, and if it is tighter, then that is good. But if it's still a little bit loose, I may need to do it again. So then I would back it out and try it again and see what we get. If it still does not work, you can pull it back out and cut the slot down a little bit farther with a jeweler's saw and try it again. I hope this video has been helpful. Please subscribe for more band instrument repair videos.